Thank you, Calvin. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. I really appreciate you. Welcome. All right, so the first cards we have are boundaries and return. So this may indicate that there may be somebody that may be returning. Some of them may have good intentions, maybe wanting to apologize, make amends. But there may be other people who just want to come back with their bullshit. So some of you may be wanting to draw a line, draw a boundary, depending on the situation. But most likely it's someone that you have already blocked. And someone you don't really want to allow back into your life because of whatever drama they have caused. Let's see what else comes out. Hey, Curious, how you doing? Oh, we have one card flip. And you know, it's a good thing that I was muted because I was saying that I'm a little bit tipsy. And now I'm saying it. I'm a little bit tipsy. So, let's see if how I still know how to read, obviously. Um, so the card we have here is sorrow, loss, grief, depression. So there may be somebody coming back because they are sensing this loss. They're feeling the loss. And that may be what's drawing them back into your atmosphere. But it's like depending on the situation, this may not be somebody that you want to allow back in because they've caused a lot of stress, anxiety, hurt, pain. You know, this could be somebody that you shared a lot of memories with, someone that you feel nostalgic. You have a lot of nostalgic memories with. You know, it could be somebody, now I'm thinking Six of Cups, somebody that you may have known for a long time, but with reminiscing, dwelling, and bittersweet, you may have bittersweet memories with this person, but whatever has transpired has caused a lot of sadness and grief, and that may be what's causing you to want to put up a boundary to protect yourself, protect your peace, you know, and that's the most important thing. Because like I always say, we are responsible for our own happiness, but we're also in charge and responsible for our protecting our own peace. So we have Mercury retrograde, and then we also have a little tipsy tan over here. So please forgive me. I wanted to do a live. I usually go live every day between 2 p.m. Eastern time and then a little bit after 5 p.m. Eastern time as well. But I'm traveling right now, so I'm on a totally different time zone. So yeah, emotional storm, turmoil, unstable, affected. So yeah, whoever this is definitely feeling a lot of emotions, a lot of regret, a lot of sadness, and all of the cards that have come out. And ironically, the only one that has a bit of color in it is the confessions, unveiling, coming clean, and messages. But all the other cards that we have on the table, literally on the night table, are black and white, you know, indicating past. So this is someone that you've had a past with that's definitely wanting to return, totally regretful. The emotions are hitting them. It doesn't necessarily, it could be someone that you shared a past with, or someone that may be returning from the past that you have not had a contact with. So take the messages as they resonate. Okay. Oh, thank you for letting me know this is resonating with you, Peaceful Annoyance. That's an interesting name. Okay, so this person may be watching you, observing you, and if they're wanting to return, they may be doing this because they're trying to get an idea of when would be the best time for them to make their move, to make their approach. It says social network information ways. So they could be watching you over social media. They could actually be watching you in person if they know your habits, if they know where you work, where you live, where you frequent. This person may even confess that to you, because I saw the confession card that was at the bottom of the deck before I started shuffling. So right here we have the hopeless card, sinking despair, falling apart. Somebody's life is falling apart. I don't know if this is someone that you created a life with and they've walked away, abandoned you in some way, and now they're wanting to return because ever since they departed, let's just say departed your life, they're feeling a lot of regret, and not because of not only the pain and anguish of losing you or deciding not to choose you, because if they chose to leave, but it could be that their life is falling apart because with you, they were able to keep it together. You know, you may have been a grounding force in their life. So there may be a sense of hopelessness from this person, and that may be why they may be watching and what's calling them to come forward to you. Then we have another one, shocking, turmoil, trouble, unexpected. Turmoil came up twice already, emotional storm and shocking. I don't know if there's something going on in your life that's causing them to go through some sort of turmoil, and it might be because you may be giving off the impression that you're moving forward. Hi, Heidi. I hope you're doing well. Oh, thank you. I am actually a mother. I am a mother. So I'm glad I'm doing that. I'm a Cancer rising, just so you know, which is one of the most maternal signs in the zodiac. So, um, just so you know, shocking. So I don't know if there's something going on in your life where you've either moved on from them or they've sensing it energetically that you've detached. And that's where this hopelessness is. Maybe this person felt like they can come back around. Maybe you're someone that they've constantly returned to. You always had this back and forth interaction with them, but it may have reached this peak where you are no longer connecting with them energetically. Some of you may have done a cord cutting ceremony or some sort of energetic cutting, you know, so that you no longer connect with them in the energetic or etheric realm. It could be that. It was interesting. Somebody yesterday asked me about cord cutting ceremony, so that's why it's coming to my mind. And excuse me if my speech is a little impaired. Once again, some of you are coming in. I'm a little bit tipsy, so I'm trying to keep it professional. And I'm trying to speak as fluently in English as I can. So that I could give you the message. So some of you, this person could have been someone you considered a twin flame. Someone that you felt like matched you in some way, possibly helped you with growing, helped you see yourself in a different light, also help you, was basically a reflection of you, because it says mirroring shared feelings and reflection, but there are also possibilities. This may have been somebody that you even considered having some sort of future with, whether it was getting married or having children, creating a family, building a stable home together, just the future, you know, the white picket fence type of thing, if you're into that. But most of you are just really wanting to protect your peace, because if this is someone that has been causing you a lot of emotional distress when you were with them, and the fact that they may want to return, maybe why some of you are putting up your guard, you know, protecting yourself, protecting your peace, because this person has been nothing but a thorn on your side. It may not resonate with everybody. And like I said, this could be, it doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic reading, but these are love oracle. But you know, we do love our family, we love our friends. So it could be someone that is a lover, a friend, or a family member, you know. Let's see what else comes out. Okay, curse, hex, witchcraft, negative mind. So yeah, I don't know if some of you felt like it reached a point where you're like, okay, this relationship, it seems like it's more it's doing more harm than good. You know, when you think of a curse, you think negative. You don't really think it's, oh, this is something that's bringing joy into my life. It's bringing light. It's bringing peace. It's bringing harmony. It's bringing happiness, or whatever it is you're looking for. It could just, you realize that this relationship was probably toxic to you. You know, wasn't doing you any favors. And then if anything, it was probably causing you a lot of emotional confusion, not allowing you to see clearly, not seeing things for what they actually were. Yeah, but some of you have reached that breaking point where you're like, no, I'm done with this type of cycle. I'm done with this type of situation, with the finality card being at the split. Farewells, leave behind closure. So that, you know, some of you are just wanting to close out this cycle because it has brought nothing but confusion. But this person coming in may even, like, may reinforce the fact that you need to maintain your boundaries, or show you that they bring nothing but confusion to you, emotional confusion. Okay, let's see what else comes out. If some of you don't know what to do in this situation, but you resonate with what I'm saying, what Spirit is saying is that you have to protect yourself. You maintain boundaries, draw a line, say no. Like Uriel said, Uriel said, say no. I said no. They said no. Say no. Like they say, saying no is a complete sentence. You don't need to explain yourself to anybody, because the only person that needs to understand why you're saying no is you. If they don't get it, that's on them. They could figure it out. They could translate it on Google. But you already know what it means for you. You know? Another card. Some of you may have felt like, see the twin flame card and came out, but then we have soulmates. Deep love, unity, connection. Now, this is taking a turn, and this is only for whoever it resonates with. Some of you may not want to return to the situation because of the stress, anxiety, turmoil, confusion, inconsistency that it has brought into your life, or this person has as their personality traits. But some of you may want to reunite with this person because you feel like this is the person for you. And even if this, like even the negative stuff that was mentioned in this, some of you may still see this person as a soulmate. You know, but the thing is, soulmates are meant to teach us lessons. They're not, some of them are not meant to be in our lives forever. Some of them are just meant to be in our life for a season. You know, not for the long haul, not for forever. You know, so this person may have been a catalyst to you, where they taught you where it's necessary for you to draw boundaries, to protect your energy, to protect your peace at all costs. Now, for some of you, this could be somebody that you would want to return, because you do see the possibilities and you're willing to take the risk of allowing them back into your life. But that may not resonate with everybody, because some situations are beyond the point of return, and some can be, you know, some can be healed, but that may not resonate with everybody. Some of you may be dealing with the divine feminine, or resonate with being the divine feminine. Wow. Okay. These cards flipped out together. Conflict. See, the divine masculine and the feminine, they're in conflict with each other. This is fucking interesting. This is very interesting. Some of you, if this is personal too, like some of you can be in conflict with the divine masculine within you, because we embody both energies. If you think about it, you know, feminine energy is supposed to be receptive, and the divine masculine, the masculine energy, is supposed to be action oriented. They take the steps, they do the chasing, as they say, the chasing, you know. And this could be an internal conflict within you, but it could be that it's literally a divine feminine, however it resonates with you, being in conflict with a divine masculine, or vice versa. A divine masculine being in conflict with a divine feminine. So remember, we embody both energies. So in the bottom of the deck, it says thinking, craving you. No, it says missing you, craving, and desiring. For some of you, this person, some of you may resonate with this. Hi, Monette, how are you? I'm doing good, thank you. For some of you, with this thinking card, yeah, some of you may be considering allowing this person back in because of the possibilities card coming in, you know. But like I said, it's depending on the situation. Is this a situation that there's hope for, or is this something that you should just call it quits on? You know, continue to maintain boundaries, or to put up boundaries to protect your peace, because that's the most important thing, you know. Your peace, your happiness is the most important thing. Hi, Hera, how are you? I'm trying to remember, who was it? There was somebody. I think it was Kenza or Naima that was telling me that I should go and take a trip. I took the trip. I'm on the trip right now. Hi, Dan. How are you? So yeah, like this is funny. You're thinking, you're considering it. Someone's at their breaking point. It could either be the person that's wanting to return, and that's what's calling them to come forward, or it could be it's you. You may be manifesting this person. You may be trying to attract this person back into your life. We could do that with our thoughts. When we start to think about someone, they can sense it. I know I can. Yes. Yes. Self-love, self-care, and we only live, well, we live every day. That's what they say. We shouldn't say YOLO. We live every day. No YOLO. But this lifetime is only once. So we only live once. So WOLO. All right. So yeah, like some of you may be at this breaking point, or it's this person. This is where the contemplation has to come in, where you decide what should you do. This could be causing the conflict. This could be causing the emotional storm. But ultimately, it's what you feel is the best thing for you. If you feel like this person doesn't do anything but bring you stress, bring you strife, bring you anxiety, confusion, has you conflicted, like your heart and mind are not in alignment, then this is someone you definitely should consider drawing boundaries for, because I can't tell you what to do. You ultimately are in charge of your life, like I said, in charge of your happiness and in charge of your peace. Only thing I could tell you or show you is, or remind you, is that you have the power to decide what you do with your own life. No one does. And if you feel like other people are to blame for your problems, that's the problem. And that's how you know it's your problem, because we're responsible for our own life choices. We can't blame everybody else. We have to take accountability for our own happiness, and our own decisions, our choices, whatever choices we make. That's the beauty and ugly of being human. I'm tipsy, y'all. I'm surprised I'm talking clearly. Okay, let's see what else we have coming out. But I hope everybody's having a great day wherever they are. Yeah, tipsy Tanya. Tipsy Tanya Tarot. I should just hashtag that, right? TTT. All right, so that's what we have for the first reading. That was the Love Oracle. Well, let's see what else comes out. Thank you, Monette. Gotta be honest. This hotel could have done a better job of dusting. This is a very short trip for me. Well, let's see what comes out for the collective. Like, hold on a moment. I gotta check my phone. Okay. Let's see. We're going into the Revealing the Truth deck. So I thank you all for joining, subscribing, liking this live, allowing me to read for you and provide you guidance. The first card we have is Crown, Owner, Master, Top Level. This is like someone mastering. It says master, of course, but it's like you're mastering your authority. You're understanding that you have authority. You have power. We all do. I feel like sometimes we think we don't, but we forget. The fact that we can make certain choices, that's proof that we have power. Just a little reminder for you. If you ever feel stuck, remember it's a choice. You choose to feel stuck. If you feel stuck, you have to think about what can you do to make yourself unstuck. Not everybody, though. There are people in certain situations where they're actually stuck, they're trapped. And we're talking about people who are not in complicated or abusive relationships, because that's a totally different animal, and that's a totally different And I can't touch on that because that's a very delicate and sensitive situation for whoever's going through it. So I can't trivialize it by saying we all have free will. We do to a certain extent, but certain people are conditioned to feel trapped in a way. So I have to say that. But I feel like some of you are like just owning your independence. You're owning being single. You know, you're like, you may feel like being single is where you feel like you're at your most powerful, where you feel like you have more control because you're autonomous. You know, you get to make your decisions. You get to decide how things go. You know, you're the master of your life. You're the master of your realm. So keep silent coercion hints. So the silence card came out. I want to know what that's about. Sorry, let me fix that. Gotta be careful because I'm working off a nightstand. Let's see, silence. Look for. I feel like some of you are looking for something. You're doing something, but you're doing it in secret, in silence. You're not talking about it. You're keeping it to yourself. I'm not sure what that is. It says investigation, explore, search. So it's like you're researching in a way. I mean, you could say it literally. You're researching something, but it's something that you're keeping to yourself. Well, what is that in regards to? Okay, the guard card came out. So that's to do with protecting boundaries. I don't know if some of you are starting something new. You've ended something and now you're going into a new path with the immortality card, which has to do with resurrection. I don't know if you're revisiting something or you ended something and now you're looking at what path you want to take. But you're doing this in silence. You're not telling anybody. So this could be work. This could be like you're deciding to end a job, stop working, like quitting, basically. But you may be already preparing what your next move is. Some of you may be applying for jobs, and until you know if you receive an offer that matches whatever it is that you want, you're not saying anything until it's solidified, and then that's where you're maybe leaving or walking away. That could be the same thing in a relationship too. Some of you may be planning to become single. People do that. They already have one foot out the door. It's just a matter of them getting everything prepared for the next step. You know? It's like making sure they have all their bases covered before they make their final exit. But it's like they're doing this in silence. Someone's doing this in silence. You know? I don't know if somebody's looking for an apartment, looking for a job. But they're definitely doing this in secret with the silence and guard. That's what it's making me think of. I think some of you have reached a point where wherever you are in whatever relationship, it could be a job, you're wanting more for yourself, and wherever you are, it's not giving. And that may be where you're wanting to think about or look for what does give, what aligns with you, what matches. But the immortality cord, I can't, like I told you, I'm tipsy. Please forgive me. I have to enunciate immortality card. Some of you may be revisiting something that you've left behind. You know, that word sublimation always gets me. I remember I looked it up, but I forgot what it means. So I'm going to look it up again. Sublimation. I looked it up and I forgot what it meant. It's transformation. There's something changing in your life right now. Sublimation is the direct transition of a substance from solid to gas bypassing liquid phase. That's a scientific explanation, right? But there's a psychological definition as well. I saw that one. Let me look up that one. I know someone in here in the chat is a science person. Well, it says sublimation is a mature, unconscious defense mechanism that redirects socially unacceptable impulses, such as aggressive or sexual drives, into constructive, socially acceptable behaviors. It converts negative, anxiety-inducing, or taboo desires into positive actions, such as creativity, sports, or work. So yeah, some of you are maturing. Like like what I'm getting, it's like some of you have outgrown something, and now you're ready. It could be you've outgrown a relationship. Some of you may have outgrown a relationship, and the reason why I say a relationship is because of the single card. Someone is wanting to exert some sort of authority, autonomy over their life, because whatever is going on, if you're in a relationship, however this resonates, it may not even be you, it could be somebody around you. Somebody is just wanting, they have grown something, and now they're like understanding and looking for ways to improve their life, level up their life, with the crown card coming out. You know, they're sick of whatever they've experienced. Now they're ready to cut out what doesn't serve them so that they can transition into something where it fulfills them emotionally, mentally, even the type of growth that they've reached personally, you know, because whatever has been going on hasn't been working, and they're just ready for things to change. They're ready to make positive changes. You know, and I mentioned this in a couple of readings ago that, you know, our shadow self teaches us about ourselves, but also about other people. And we could use our shadow as a way to grow, as a way to improve ourselves. You know, we could use it as a strength. You know, it could be seen as a negative trait, you know, whatever it is, whatever your shadow self is, because we all have our toxic traits. We all have those little things that may not be the best qualities. It could be jealousy, envy, it could be insecurity, negative mindset. It could be anything that isn't, you know, that really binds you and traps you and doesn't allow you to grow. It keeps you stagnant. It keeps you in your comfort zone because of fear. But some of you may be outgrowing that, or someone around you may be outgrowing that and wanting to end that and wanting to go towards something new, something different, something better, that will improve their life in some way. Not everybody announces these types of changes because it's always met with criticism and naysayers. There's always people that just like, oh, if you change, then, you know, when you start to outgrow friends, you outgrow situations, and you start to make changes in your life, that in a way offends people because they're seeing where they're lacking and where they're not making the movements or changes that they need to make in their own life. You know, hi Harry, how are you? Welcome back. So when we do that, this is why we have to keep certain things to ourselves, because certain people will try to get us to not make those changes because it makes it more evident to them where they need to make the change themselves. This is where the resonance between you and this other person or whoever else, it could be groups of friends, it could be family, because I know when people start to make changes, even family be like, why are you changing? You think you're better than us? You think you're better than us because you're doing this or you're doing that? It's not about being better than anybody. It's being better for yourself. It's about doing better. Not everything is about other people. Sometimes it's just about yourself. You know, it's not, it's you. If you want your life to improve, fuck what everybody else thinks, because it's your life. They're not living in your experience. You know, this is your life. You want to see the improvement for yourself, you know, but you can't help. It's not your fault if people feel insecure. They feel some type of way about you wanting to be better, because it doesn't have anything to do with them. It's about you. You know, if they feel offended that you want to do better with, they have to figure out why it bothers them so much, because that's a them issue, because that's their life. If they're happy with the way their life is, then they shouldn't really be judgmental or critical or unsupportive of you wanting to do better in your life. You know, if they're happy with their life, they will want you to be happy with their life. I mean, with your life. But if they're not happy with their life and then you're wanting to do better to improve your life and they're getting offended, it's like, why the fuck it bothers you? It's not your life. It's my life. It don't got nothing to do with you. And we don't force people to change. We hope to inspire people to do better. Hi, Jean. How are you? I'm not answering any yes or no questions because right now I am tipsy as fuck. We're not trying to keep it together. I'm sorry, Ethel. Thank you, Harry. It's like this is your life. If they're happy with their life, then it shouldn't offend you if you're trying to do something to make yourself happy with yours. Like I said, it's a dumb issue. So this is why some people, they make these changes. They may cut people out of their life because they start to say or do things that in a way kind of undermine them. Sometimes they may try to gaslight you, may try to make you feel bad or guilt trip you into thinking, you think you're better than us because you're doing this or that. But that don't got nothing to do. Why are you offended? Why does it bother you that I want to do better? So this is why you have to make these changes on your own. And like, I think it was Snoop Dogg that says sometimes, I don't know, it was some rapper, but he probably got it from some philosopher, that when you start to improve in your life, you start to see people leave your life because they're not able to catch up. The ones that really want to grow with you, they will do the work. But the people who are just not willing to, they will stay behind. And this is where you lose friends. But the thing is when you start to elevate your status in some way, not everybody's meant to go with you. It's not their journey. The people that are meant to go with you, they will follow you. And the ones that follow you are the ones that you inspired, that you motivated, that you encouraged, But the ones that want to stay behind, they're the haters. They're the haters, And some of them maybe wanted to come back. Some of them maybe, like I said, trying to guilt trip you in some way or I don't know where this is coming from, because the cards don't say that. It just says that some of you are going through some change in your life. You're looking for ways to improve your life. You're wanting to end cycles, but you're doing this in silence. But why should you be silent unless there's people around you who don't support you in some way? Yeah, it's important to guard your privacy, like Jean says. It's important to guard your healing journey, because this is a part of healing, because whenever you've felt like you've been at a plateau in some way, but then you found a way to get around it, and by changing your mindset, then it's like everything starts to change. But then not everybody wants to understand, go through the journey with you, because they're not ready to take accountability for their own actions. They don't want to take accountability for their own life. They don't want to take accountability that the reason why their life is the way it is because of them. Sometimes your life sucks because you suck. I'm going to say it like that. You have to take accountability. Our choices, our mind frame, our emotions, who we allow into our lives, who we allow to influence us, says a lot about us. But some of you may be wanting to protect yourself in some way. You're maybe standing firm in your decision with wide awake. Some of you have gained some sort of clarity and awakening, an epiphany of some sort that is showing you the light of exactly where you want to go, what you need to do, and how important it is for you to remain consistent. Yeah, that's the wonderful thing. Like, yes, our DNA changes because as humans, we're meant to evolve. We're not meant to stay the same. If we stay the same, then what's the point of living? If we're going to be the same and not improve in any way, what's the point? There's no point in that. It's look at the fun I split deck trash. It's like you're no longer you're taking out the trash. You know, you may be cutting off people who may be trash energy, maybe vampires, um, with a guard card, protecting yourself from that type of people, those types of people, ending those types of relationships with those types of people. And some of you may be looking for people who align with you, who have the same vision, who want better, who want to do better. Thank you everyone for the likes. I really appreciate you. Maybe I should be tipsy more often. Because all this stuff that's coming out. All the stuff that's coming out. Let me see. I see something at the bottom of the deck because I looked at the bottom and it said missed you. And then we have the trash card coming out and that's suspicious. So if this is with immortality coming out, that's about resurrection, right? As well, that's, I mentioned sublimation, but we have resurrection showing up. So this is the judgment card. It's about considering reviving a situation that may have been dead, that may have ended in some way. For some of you, there may be somebody coming back towards you, but trash, it says waste worthless mouths. I don't know if this is a person that you may be suspicious of because you may be thinking that they may be trying to waste your time in some way. But you know what? When you think about it, when you start to level up and change, there may be like certain tests that come. It's just to test your resolve. Like, how committed are you to this change that you want to make for your life? You know, are you willing to sacrifice the people that you love? And I don't mean like sacrifice, like, you know, that type of sacrifice, but more like you cut these people out because you have to protect yourself. You have to guard yourself. You know, you have to keep silent about whatever your moves are so that you can upgrade your life, you know. But like for some of you, there could be somebody returning that wants to start something up, but you may like this may not be the best energy. And this is a matter of you. I don't know if this person may offer commitment in some way, but this could be a test of your commitment to yourself. Like I was mentioning, you know, this is about using your discernment, you know. Look at everything that has transpired in a relationship and see if this is something that can be resurrected in some way, in whatever way you feel like it can be, but where things can be improved. But if not, then this is a situation that you have to consider like, you know, I don't see that this is going to go anywhere. And it's funny, the sacrifice card. I said sacrifice. I just saw this card. I was looking at the bottom and the last card I stopped at was wisdom. But then I saw sacrifice. Yeah. Are you willing to sacrifice whatever hard work you've already put in to bring somebody that may possibly not have the best intentions? Like I said, it's a test. You know, a test of your commitment, a test of how wise you are. Did you learn a lesson? Did you get the lesson? Are you willing to sacrifice the hard work and then end up in a situation that, well, you will ultimately decide it's like, wow, that was a waste of my time. It wasn't worth going back to. It wasn't worth revisiting, you know? Some of you, if you are deciding that, you may be doing that investigation. You may be looking to see if this person has made changes that would be conducive or aligns with the changes you're wanting to make for your life, or if you have already made those changes in your life. So if you are allowing this person back in, you're guarding yourself. May not allow this person back in fully because you're not completely convinced of how authentic their return is, but it's a matter of using your discernment. You know, if you have to do a little bit of investigation, then do that. If you need to, if you need to do a little investigation to see or confirm whatever it is before you make a final decision, then do that. Yeah, let people show you who they are. Because people ultimately do that, like Jean says. You know, you give them enough rope, you'll see them hang themselves. People who do that. You don't have to put too much effort. You just give them enough rope and you'll see. Okay, let's see what else comes out. That was that reading. Wow, 46 minutes in. God's golden rope. Sometimes you have to test people. It may not even be a test. It could be a test of your own commitment, but it could also be you testing theirs. Like, how committed are you to being a part of my life and making the necessary changes so that you can fit into my life, fit into whatever path or vision that you already have. Because not everybody can keep up, you know. Sometimes people try to think they think they can keep a good, they could have a good game or whatever. I can't even talk right now, but you know what I'm saying. They talk a good game. That's what I want to say. But let's see how actions speak louder than words. You know, ultimately, you can talk a good game, but actions speak louder than words. All right, I have the Golden Royale deck. Let's see what comes out. Nine of Swords. That's anxiety, sleepless nights. Page of Cups. That's communication. And the Eight of Pentacles. With the Death card at the bottom of the deck. So if you're maybe Scorpio, some of you may have Scorpio in your chart. You may be dealing with a Scorpio. Just in case you didn't know, I am a Scorpio. Hi, Cave Ranger. How are you? I'm doing good, thank you. Just so everyone knows, I'm not answering any yes or no questions, and it's because I'm tipsy Tanya right now. Okay. I probably could do it, but like I don't want to be on too late, you know. Let's see. So we have Nine of Swords. This has to do with sleepless nights, anxiety, stress, bad dreams, nightmares. With a Page of Cups, which is someone coming in with a love offer, possibly an apology, and then Eight of Pentacles. Okay, as I was saying, the Eight of Pentacles is about putting in the work. It's about being very focused and dedicated in your craft, paying attention to detail. It could even be having a workaholic tendency, hyper focus with finances and work. I want to clarify the Nine of Swords, but automatically what I'm thinking is that someone may be feeling a lot of stress, anxiety, and someone may be either because they felt like they don't know where they stand with somebody because someone places more focus on their work than they do on them with the Death. And this has to do with, we were talking about transformation, sublimation. Basically, sublimation is kind of like, what's that word? Transmutation, you know, where you take something negative and then you take something and you transform it into something else. Like it says, taking a bad habit and trying to change it into a good habit. I don't know if somebody wanted to apologize to someone because they've caused them stress and anxiety and is willing to put in the work to correct the situation. That's what the first meaning I'm getting, like when I put it all together. But I want to know what the Nine of Swords is about. Okay, so Two of Pentacles, someone juggling. Two of Cups, okay. Let me get another card because that came into my mind. I wonder if somebody thought somebody was dealing with somebody else. Because with the Two of Pentacles and Two of Cups, someone is in their head with the Nine of Swords. They're stressed out. They're worried. Their anxiety. I wonder if the fear is if somebody was juggling. Like if somebody was dealing with not only them, but somebody else. Juggling another person. But then we have the Knight of Swords coming out, which is the person that's it could be racing thoughts about this situation. Maybe thoughts. You know, when I see the Queen of Pentacles, and then I see this with the person being stressed out, anxiety, and then thinking someone maybe juggling them with somebody else, maybe a third party situation, that may be a fear that the person has. That's why they're in this Knight of Swords energy, right? Someone has this fear. Someone has these racing thoughts in their mind, because swords are about thoughts, they're ideas. But if you're not in a good place, your negative thoughts can run wild like the horse does, you know? It could go wild like a horse, you know? It could be uncontrollable in some way. But someone may be needing to ground themselves. Maybe someone needs to remind themselves of their own worth. Because regardless if they are dealing with somebody that is juggling, sometimes automatically some of us think that if someone is dealing with us, but then another person, and we internalize it and think that we're not good enough, that we aren't worthy, you know, because we're not able to give this person what they want, so they may. But I feel like it's like, now, girl, get your shit together, stabilize, because if someone is juggling, it's because they're a fucking player. That don't got nothing to do with you. That's a dumb issue, you know. So I don't know why us as people, we have to internalize other people's bad behavior when it has nothing to do with us. It has nothing to do with our worth. If somebody wants to fuck around and have 2 or 3 bitches or dudes or whatever, it's because they want to be like that. That has nothing to do with your worth, regardless if you're a male or female. That's just saying that some of you may be dealing with shitty ass people, you know. But with this Page of Cups coming out, I want to know what that is. Because, like I said, this could be just your thoughts running wild. Some of you can be dealing with someone who may be dealing with multiple people, who may be juggling. But I feel like with the Nine of Swords clarifying that, it could be you already know that the person is doing that, or that's a fear that you have. And like I said, if the person is doing that, rein in your thoughts and not make it about you. Because remember, it's that person doing that, not you. So they're the one that has an issue with worth. If they need to be having so many other people around them to validate them, you are good enough as you are. This person who's juggling, who may be juggling, may not resonate with everybody, because not everybody is dealing with someone in that energy. Whoever is juggling, that's because they don't feel worthy. That's their insecurity. Why should we adopt their insecurity as our own when they're the one doing the bad deed? Why do we internalize shit, especially as women? If a man's going to be doing shit like that don't got nothing to do with us. A woman doing the same thing, it don't got nothing to do with the man. It's her. It's him. You know, it's the person that's doing the bad behavior, not the person that is being affected by the behavior, you know? So I want to find out what this... Let me see. I'm sorry. Like, I dropped cards. I have a very little table space here. I just dropped 2 cards, actually. All right. So the Page of Pentacles. No, it's not a Page of Pentacles. It's the Page of Cups with the 8 of Pentacles. So what I see here is like, we got the 3 of Swords with the 9 of Pentacles. Those are the 2 cards that fell. The Page of Cups is someone who may be coming in with an apology, or maybe someone coming in with a love offer, you know? If that's the case, this person may be apologizing to you. I don't know what they're apologizing, but I see they're apologizing for causing some sort of grief, pain, sorrow, with the 3 of Swords coming out. But it's interesting the 9 of Pentacles came out, because the 9 of Pentacles, they say, is the minor arcana for the Empress, you know? Someone who is stable, secure, abundant, established in some way, well on their way to the 10 of Pentacles, a person of value, you know? Agua ardiente. I've never heard. Don't judge me. I'm Puerto Rican, but I was raised in America. I've been Americanized. But I gotta look that up. Agua ardiente. All right, so Page of Cups with the Three of Swords and the Knight of Pentacles. But we have the Eight of Cups coming out. So this could be somebody that may have walked away from you. I don't know if some of you think that somebody walked away from you because there may have been a third party situation, like another person involved. Because automatically when you think third party, you're thinking there's another woman, there's another man. But sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's like family responsibilities. But it could also be work. Work could be the third party. Like someone could be so devoted to whatever they're working towards, because that's what the Eight of Pentacles is. Someone who's very much focused, even hyper focused on, whatever they're working on. It could be their job, workaholic. Someone who's working on their art, their craft, studying. It's just their focus is it's pinpoint on something specific. And it's ultimately for some higher goal, But I don't know if somebody, if you were dealing with that, I mean, like I said, some of you may have had that fear that someone may have been juggling you. But it could be them juggling like work, life, trying to find that work-life balance, right? But I think that if you've walked away from this person, or this person walked away from you, they may be coming back or returning. Yeah, returning, Tanya. Returning to apologize to you for causing you pain, stress. Because I know sometimes when we feel like, as a human, I assume, because I understand this, so I'm thinking other humans agree with this too. When you feel like you're being neglected in some way, that may cause you to start arguments, start fights with the person, and then the person's like, why the fuck are you keep accusing me of cheating, you keep accusing me of doing this or that, but I'm not doing that, I'm just working, I'm trying to get that bag, I'm trying to get a promotion, I'm trying to get this, I'm trying to do that. They're trying to better their life. That may not resonate. Some people, you know who I'm talking about, because if you think somebody's cheating, then you most likely are right? Like if you already think that. But if you're someone who tends to have low self-esteem, insecurities, and you've experienced a lot of bad stuff in past relationships, then that creates that ripple effect where you don't trust people. But if you're in a situation where like this person, you trust them enough to know that they wouldn't do that to you, but you still felt neglected in some way, that it made you even think that, like suspect that, even though it was just they're busy working, So this person, you may have walked away from that person. This person may have walked away from you because there was just a lot of stress and anxiety in the relationship. But somebody's wanting to come forward. It could be you that may be wanting to apologize to this person, because you understand. You have an understanding. Yes, this person has been working on building something for themselves, because we do have the Knight of Pentacles and the Eight of Pentacles showing up. Yeah, so someone may be wanting to apologize for walking away or causing anxiety or stress in a relationship, but because they finally see the truth. But that may not be for everybody. I try to be a well-rounded reader because I don't want to be like everybody's situations like rainbows and butterflies, Not everybody's situation is like that. Some things are actually what they are. Someone could have been, but it's not always the case. The Eight of Pentacles with the Knight of Cups. That's about wish fulfillment. Somebody working hard to make their dreams come true, to find some satisfaction in their life, doing the things that make them happy. Sometimes some people, stability gives them happiness, because when you have a stable life, then you don't have to have stress or anxiety. You don't have to worry about this or that, like money or paying the bills or, getting evicted and stuff like that. The stability is so important. So someone may have had instability in their life, like if they were growing up, and that's why they're very much focused on their work, because they want to make sure that that they're in a safe, stable, secure place so that they can feel happiness. Sometimes feeling grounded, because we had the Queen of Pentacles and then we have the Nine of Pentacles. Yeah, somebody just wants to be grounded, and it's hard to feel grounded if you don't feel stable. You don't feel like your environment's stable. Goodness, these cards, this floor is hard to pick up cards with. I have to use another card to pick up a card. But like, that's that. Okay, so Nine of Cups. So someone's working hard to make their dreams come true, Let's see what else comes out. Two of Swords, which is about going within, trying to find the truth, using intuition. I did see the High Priestess at the bottom of the deck. I didn't mention it because I didn't think it really resonated, but it's funny that the Two of Swords is coming out. Look at this. The High Priestess is still at the bottom. Yeah, I feel like I think somebody has been in their head about this, and maybe they're getting the understanding, and now they're willing to put in the work, to work together with the Three of Pentacles. It's collaboration, Well, what's the... Oh, more. Six of Wands, seeing success, balance, has to do with balance, temperance. See, somebody could have just been trying to juggle life and work, relationship and work, and at the Two of Cups is see, I mean, some people could automatically think it's like, you saw how my mind went there, because somebody's mind went there. Our minds can go there. I know my mind has gone there in the past, but sometimes, people are just like juggling. They're trying to find balance. They're not necessarily trying to juggle. They are juggling, but they're not juggling another person. They may be trying to juggle work, life, and relationship. Though the Two of Pentacles just shows him juggling two things, holding two things. But, sometimes people can juggle multiple things, have multiple responsibilities, But it's funny, it's about balance, finding a balance, finding a work-life balance, working together, because in a relationship, you have to work together. It's not only about one person doing all the work, one person putting in all the effort. It's two people that had to put in that work, So I don't know if somebody felt neglected. And like I said, somebody's mind thought, oh, this person might be juggling. Yeah, they're juggling. Some of them may be juggling another person. I'll be honest. That's a possibility. Like, it's a possibility. But it could just be someone's just juggling work-life balance. Look at that. I stopped shuffling and look at the Lover's card. Yeah. So someone may be coming forward. If this is you or whoever this resonates with, you may be the person that's hardworking and trying to get, make your dreams come true, try to create a stable life for yourself and for whoever you may be with. Somebody may be returning and apologizing because now they see the light. They're no longer blind, to the situation. They're seeing the facts for what they are, I don't know in what way, maybe they're watching. We did have the spying card. Maybe that came out, because sometimes the readings, like some components of the earlier oracle readings can resonate with the tarot reading that I'm doing right now. So maybe somebody's seeing and they're like, oh, I thought they were doing this, but they were actually working. They were actually studying. They're not playing me. I was playing myself. Look at this, Ten of Swords. So there may be an end to some cycle. It could be a positive ending or it could be a negative ending, depending on how the apology goes. This person may not take you back, or they may want to have that new beginning with the Ace of Wands. So something can be reignited. The passion, the love, the desire can be reignited. But it's a matter of discernment here. It's about being honest, being truthful, being integral, and yeah, basically just communication, working together, sharing, being generous with each other. And this is also about balance too, Because sometimes in certain points in our lives, we had to give more to other things than our relationship. And it goes vice versa. You know, sometimes let me use myself as an example. I'm not in a relationship. I'm going to use myself as an example. If I'm with somebody and I have to, like, say I'm going through a season of work where I have to be focused on what I have to do, I may neglect my partner because I have the responsibilities, I have the deadlines, I have the pressure from work. And then I may neglect my partner, and vice versa. They may be going through that in their job, and I may feel neglected. But it's a matter of being understanding and also communicating, like letting each other know, like, okay, this is what's going on at work or whatever, and this is why I'm not able to be here, or I'm not able to give this much or whatever. But you always have to remain in communication. You know, like they said, no one's never too busy to communicate, right? It doesn't take that long to communicate with somebody, even if you are busy. So that's never an excuse. Nowadays, being busy is not an excuse. So I think everybody should know that already. But this is a matter of, you know, being honest and fair with each other, communicating, and, you know, being open to having a new beginning, but then bringing in some sort of change, you know, with the sublimation, the resurrection. You know, if there's going to be something resurging, something returning for like a reconciliation, there has to be open communication. You know, you can't keep things to yourself, you know. And in order for it to be successful, whether that will require communication, right? But it's funny, the Five of Pentacles, this is about feeling abandoned, left out. And I didn't notice this card came out. So some of you may have, like I said, like somebody felt like they weren't getting enough. Like they felt neglected. And I just saw this card, and this is like the neglect card, you know, being left out in the cold. So someone definitely felt that. But I think if there's some sort of reconciliation coming in with someone apologizing in either part, whether it's somebody apologizing for putting in more effort towards other responsibilities than the relationship, or someone seeing the light and seeing, okay, somebody wasn't juggling another person, they were just juggling work, juggling life, you know? So it's depending. But it's all about fairness, balance, and honesty, communication. That's the most important thing when it comes to a relationship. So yeah, that's that for that reading. Well, I've been on for an hour already. Let me see. I keep dropping cards. I don't have enough space. This is a little nightstand I'm working off of. Let me see. So I hope that reading resonates with somebody. It gives some sort of clarity or guidance, insight that they may not have known, or just confirmation of what you already know. So I didn't bring much cards with me because I was trying to pack light and I failed. I'm on basically it's like a 2 to 3 day trip. And I packed the way I would if I was going on a 5-6 day trip. Ay. So I hope that reading was helpful to anyone who it resonated with. I think I'm going to end the reading now because it's time for me to get ready for bed and plan for what I'm going to do tomorrow. So I hope everyone has a good night. I thank you so much for joining me, interacting, liking, sharing, and possibly even subscribing. I hope everyone has a great day or evening ahead wherever you are, and I'm sending you lots of love. Take care, everyone. Bye.